All right, all from Noops Nation. My name, Reid Nelson. His name is Yelkvas. This is This Week in Rec. What week is it? Week 5? Week 4? Week 5? Jeez Louise. We'll be playoffs soon. Fridley, we're here, Minnesota Rec. A couple things to talk about. Malice tonight goes to 4-1. They beat the Bulls North in overtime. Is this a team that's going to compete for something substantial in about a month and a half?
No, I don't think so. Just because when the playoffs roll around, it's a different beast. Teams really start to clamp down, and they can beat teams, on any given night. But their team is just waiting to implode. That's their big issue. When they're knocking down shots, they obviously can beat everybody. But once the ball starts sticking, and they don't knock down their threes, somebody's going to bounce them because they don't play well with each other throughout the course of the game. A lot of individual basketball that I saw today. I mean, they beat the Bulls North because the Bulls North basically played a worse game than Malice. One pass, one shot, a lot of isolation, going at guys one-on-one. Malice did a good job tonight of running a little pick and roll. Got Devin going for a few buckets, and then Bulls North just started self-destructing in the huddle. Muskies got hurt, I believe. He sat out the last 10 minutes, and then they took it in overtime, and they won in overtime. And I think now they're 3-0 in overtime games. So they, Bond is an extremely good defender, very underrated. Devin's obviously an elite scorer. Helmy's a big man that can stretch the floor, stretches it a little too much. For that team, I think he should be down there grabbing offensive rebounds. But, Q and Calvin is a weird dynamic because they're both very similar. They both dribble the ball a lot. They both get under the skin of the opposing, point guards. They're both not reliable three-point shooters. They like that mid-range game and driving to the hole. Omar Helmy, can do both. He can shoot the three, and he's kind of their offensive rebounder, crash the glass type of guy. I know I'm missing somebody, but they got a good team. There isn't anybody on that team where that player just doesn't belong. So when you have a team like that, you can make a run. I just don't think that they make it to the Final Four. I think that their road would end at the Elite Eight. So speaking of Bulls, we'll chat a little bit about them, and I want to fast forward to next week. So Kevin Chase, Calvin Bella, Roderick Powell, and Eugene Phelps will all be representing Minnesota Rec in the national tournament. Mm-hmm. So good luck, guys. That's all I had to say. Blazers, convincing win over an Avengers team that only had 5 guys, kind of a shell of their former selves. A lot of teams are a shell of their former selves. They just don't. I mean, Monska's back with the Rebels. The Avengers don't look like the same team. The Bulls North, the Bulls teams kind of aren't the same. A lot of new players being plugged into some of these teams. There were 2 guys in the Avengers I'd never seen before tonight. Actually, just one. So it's good for the league. I think it's interesting we get some new blood into some of these new teams. But I want to talk about the Blazers a bit. They were convincing. Abdi Muhammad, Devin Hemrick, Jake Gave, MVP. This is a team that can make a run and win a championship, right? Don't say no. Wrong.
They're not big enough?
They're not big. They don't have, you need an interior post presence that's going to be reliable. They don't have that. And once again, they're a team that can win 1 or 2 games, but they're not going to beat 4 straight elite teams. It's tough for them. They're going to falter throughout. Devin's a good player, but he gets caught in the flow of the game a little bit too much. Starts getting dribble happy. Abdi starts complaining about foul calls. He gets out of the game when things don't go his way. Jake Gave is the ultimate hooper because he's always in the zone. He's always focused on the task at hand, and he's grinding out games at all times. And he surrounded himself with guys that don't grind out games. Abdi's a hell of a player, but he takes himself out of the game once he starts bickering with the refs. And Devin, once he gets in a one-on-one game with who he's going up against, he starts getting a little dribble happy, and the ball stops moving, and it's an issue. They have kind of the same deal with Malice. Great players, great team, just doesn't. They don't put it together as a team enough consistently to make a run at a title.
In Abdi's defense, he's always complaining with the refs, so he's technically always either in the flow or out of the flow.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, Abdi, I love you, man, but every single time, like there was one play tonight where his player literally ran through like a guy running a layup, and it's just the arms in the air type thing. But it's great. No, yeah. Great mid-range, great pull-up. Yeah, you were wrong about Trey Sales, and I'm still waiting for my apology. He apologized to me, but you haven't, Abdi, so I'm waiting for that on Twitter. Public apology. Okay, the Barracudas, New Jerseys, very Houston Rockets-esque, right? Those are Houston Rockets.
Like yeah.
But they're navy and green, kind of Seahawks color. Yeah. They're cool.
Yeah. No, I like. Hey, and they say Cudas. I like that it says Cudas. A little bit G'd out, I'd say, on that.
So worth a win or two, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, whenever you look good on the court, you feel better. You play better.
Sure.
Feel good, play good.
Okay, speaking of feel good, play good, maybe this is a transition, maybe not. Justin Monska, back with the Rebels after a year and a half. It's been a while. Mm-hmm. It's been a long while. Pat Magnuson back as well. Partly related to the Ferber suspension. Ferber will be back now in a couple of weeks, but what is Monska? Monska is your favorite player. I don't want to talk too much about the Rebels, but talk a little bit about Justin Monska. We missed him for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Monska's legendary in rec. I mean, he's been around since the beginning of time.
Multiple championships.
They have 10 guys on the roster.
Really? 10?
10 guys. You have Dustin DuPont. You have Ryan Jansen. You have now Justin Monska. You have Cody. You have Epple. You have Ferber. You have Magnuson. Kloby. Tyler Brown.
Schlichty.
And Schlicky. 10 guys.
They're not going to be tired.
So they're not going to be tired. If you average out the minutes, if everybody plays even minutes, that's 22 minutes for each guy.
It's perfect for me.
It's perfect for you. I don't know how you juggle 10 guys with minutes. I mean, Luke and Tyler have always been guys that have bit the bullet for that team. But now you have a guy like Epple. You have Epple, Kloby, Ferber, Monska, DuPont, Jansen, Magnuson, and Hines. All guys that have logged heavy minutes for that franchise in the past. And now you're going to have to tell one of those guys, listen, you're going to probably play 10 minutes. And who's going to accept that role?
If anybody can do it, though, it's Joe Neuenfeld's Rebels.
Yeah. And once again, I don't like Monska on that team if Cody's there. Because Cody is a much more efficient Monska. You put Monska on the floor, he took 18 shots. He just came in after a year and a half and picked up where he left off. Took 18 shots, dominated the shots for the team, and Cody was left picking up the scraps. So if Monska – Monska needs to come in and he needs to find a role now. I think his job is gone now. He shouldn't –
Did he start?
I don't believe – I can't remember. I'd have to look at the box score. But here's the thing. With that team used to struggle offensively. So Monska had to carry that load because he had to take a lot of threes and a lot of jumpers. He was the guy. But adding Cody, adding Epple, adding Kloby, those are 3 elite offensive players. He is now probably the 4th or 5th or 6th most important offensive player on that team. He needs to play like it. He's a very underrated defender. So I think if he plays that role of being a defender and just kind of maybe a spot-up shooter, then he'll fit in seamlessly with that team. But if he comes in and plays like old Monska, I think the Rebels will be knocked out in the early rounds of the playoffs.
Okay, let's shift gears to the Muskies now. The Muskies are 5-0. Only undefeated team in Bloomington, is that correct? Gorillas are also undefeated, and the Celtics are undefeated. The Muskies will play the Gorillas next week, which means I get to bust out the Briggs Elkafas picture because it's not blue chips, but it is. It's relevant. You think that the Gorillas are going to take the Muskies down and they're going to end their little run here?
Yeah.
Are the Muskies overrated?
I mean, But because everybody's saying that they're the worst 5-0 team in rec history, which I don't think is true because there's been some pretty bad 5-0 teams, and the Muskies are good. Here's the problem with when they play the Gorillas is they don't have enough guys that, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, they can carry them. So if Trevor Hazen isn't on, they're in trouble because Trevor's going to keep being the guy that attacks, and it's just not going to work for him. And the Gorillas are just so potent that it's going to be hard to keep up with. I mean, I'm expecting, and this is bulletin board for the Muskies, but I'm expecting a 15, 20-point win.
Junius mentioned John Christensen as one of the better defenders in rec, I believe. Do you think that's the case?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a hell of a defender. Probably he's a top 5 perimeter defender, I think, in rec.
Interesting. Okay, final topic of the night, assist.
Yeah, oh, my God.
Let's talk about this. Players asking for assists.
Mm-hmm.
What say you?
Devin Hemrick. I
think it's Hemrick.
Hemrick lost 3 assists last night. He had 6, but he called for 3 of them, and I didn't give him.
Now I got to go in the stats and switch the stats around.
You can do what you want, but here's the deal from now on.
I will do that for you, Devin. I'll get you your assists.
Here's the deal from now on. I'm sick of it's a tie game. It's 55-55. 53-55. Devin makes a pass. They score. It's 55-55 with maybe 5-6 minutes left. And instead of it being engaged in the game and going back and playing defense, he turns to me, assist. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, are you playing or are you just accumulating stats? What's your goal? You know?
To annoy you.
Yeah. And Devin Stensrud today kind of looked at the scorer's table and asked for an assist. And it's like, and I gave it to him. But it's like, for a guy that doesn't pass very often, why do you want your assist so bad? You know what I mean? It's not like you're going to rocket up the assist leaderboard. Stick to what you're good at. You know, call for your points maybe, but don't call for assist. Twan, you might want to add Twan because Twan asked for an assist and I didn't give it to him last night either.
So I got to add Twan's assist. Twan will get you your assist.
Moving forward, I will not count anybody's assists if they ask for it. That is
He's kidding.
No, that is an absolute warning.
He's kidding.
I'm laying down the law.
He's kidding.
I am dead serious. Stop it.
He will be recording the assists as they come through, and that's just how it's going to be. Okay, national tournament next week. You know what? Any predictions?
National tournament?
Yeah.
I kind of took a peek at there's so many guys that are worth 450, and I don't know who they are, and I went through the teams. There's a lot of inflated numbers. Here's the problem with these other states is that they got guys that are doing 22, 23 million PPV, beating up on just janky players in God knows where, and they're going to come to the national tournament, and they're going to get a nice rude awakening from the teams that have been there and have been around in Ultimate Hoops a long time. We know the teams that have been good and have been around for a while. We know some of the Detroit teams. I mean, they have some veteran players. They know they've struggled in the national tournament, but they have veteran players. Maybe they put together a team. You have the guys from Maryland, Select Imports. Mm-hmm. They've been at the national tournament 3 years in a row now?
They weren't there last year.
So 3 out of 4 years? Or 2 out of 3?
Yeah.
But they got some experience. They've been around for a while. I think New York will struggle like they did last time. I wasn't really impressed with anybody that I saw. But it's really hard because those teams beat up on each other in these smaller market lifetime leagues. Arizona's been around for a while. They got some really good players. I'm excited for DeNuno and his 100 what is it?
Well, like Mike DeNuno, like Roberto Diver. You remember Roberto Diver? He played in St. Louis Park. Yeah. He plays on a team from Arizona, and he's one of the 3 or 4 best players there. Yeah, that's a good basketball player.
Roberto Diver was not a top 3 or 4. He wasn't even a top 20 open basketball player.
No, and I'm just saying he's one of the best 3 or 4 players on that team.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Arizona's going to represent the decision. I mean, the decision is stacked again.
That's Colorado, yeah.
Yeah. So no, but you're right.
The decision have like 12 guys or 13 guys or 14 guys on their roster.
The mob has 14 from Vegas. Now they only have to drive up the street.
Yeah. How are you going to make? And then there's another team from New Jersey. Some team has 7. And I hope they're adding.
Why lie? I mean, a lot of teams don't have a lot of players and because it takes guys can't make the commitment, and then guys drop out. So yeah, hopefully
maybe they should take a few guys from the mob and even this thing out, because with 7 guys, those guys will be dead.
Because everyone's playing 3 games on Saturday. So
they're toast.
In the Phoenix Heat, or the Las Vegas Heat, excuse me. So okay, well, I won't be here next week. And unfortunately, you won't be in Las Vegas to do the recaps with me, so whatever.
Hey, Alan, if you want to ever just bring me along, I won't say no.
Okay. All right, everyone, we'll see you next week.